line here, a chance for Akave to prove themselves, a chance for them to take that top seed, and a chance for Furious to give themselves another bit of a run out on this big circuit demo.
Yeah, be the party crashers in many scenarios. And again, if you're Akave, I said it on the desk, Ollie, there's levels to Fenix and then MIBR. There's a gap. And Fenix, out of the two, is definitely going to be the easier matchup. So I think Akave need to come in here and they need to win. This is like, it's the best case scenario. It's not as if, you're sitting here having to play against Malvinas, for example, for it, which I think would definitely give Akave a much more difficult time than Furious. This is the best chance that they have.
Yeah, for sure. There's a world where you see Fenix in today's version of the qualifier, isn't there? There's a world where they're actually fighting through the group stage to get into that, the teams that are already qualified for the semifinals and the finals tomorrow. So it really isn't, I don't think it's fair to say that MIBR and Fenix are on that same level. So the seeding does mean something, especially when you start thinking about how grueling tomorrow could be, the prospect of playing a best of 3, then into a best of 5. It's a lot of siege to get around.
Is indeed. But we move into Bank. Here we go. Akave already, of course, shown us a bit of their Bank gameplay earlier. And I think Malvinas, again, left a lot of holes in how they were playing their Bank in. Akave being able to pick up the pieces where they fell. So I think Akave will be in a good mindset. I mean, it has been a while, Ollie. It's been, 4 or 5 hours since they last played a game of Siege?
It's been a good amount of time, yeah. It's certainly feels like a long time since we've shouted the name. I'm just looking back over the fixtures now. They played first and second today. So there's been a good portion of the day there that they've been sort of, chilling out, relaxing, eating some food, and then getting ready to warm up again for that final game. But they did the hard work in the morning, and that's always the best time to do it. Get it out of the way, and then you can enjoy the rest of the day and just put in a little bit of a shift at the end to look busy. And that's what they've got to do today, coming back to where they started it all off this morning here on Bank.
Interesting bans. Tinkerban. Not one that we see all too often. I do wonder, I mean, you have to be banning the Finka literally for the ability. Because you just don't say, oh, we're going to ban it because she has 2 nades in the Gon 6. Because Iana has that, and Iana is by far, I think, the better operator in my mind, just because of the primary. So it has to be for the gadget. I find it a little bit weird, to be honest, especially on Bank, where I don't think that's going to come into a massive amount of play. It's a bit weird, just a bit weird.
Especially when we see how much Finka we've actually had today, which for the grand scheme of big Finka days, it hasn't been that much, has it? It's not been a stable pick in every single round.
Attackers dropped the diffuser.
Oh, there's the first pick. GG will find Yakko, and it's a good start for Akave. I mean, an early opening pick on Bank, especially onto the hard breacher, massive.
Gigi's been that nightmare player all day, hasn't he? He's constantly finding himself in the opening engagement. He loves to get around that roam game and play aggressively. He's on the Oryx at the moment. He's taken a good chunk of damage, to be fair. He did swing onto one of the windows on CEO and get caught out, but he's still playing inside of Elevator, and there's a chance that he finds a sneaky kill somewhere along here if he does just choose to play his life. I mean, he's got a kill at this point, so he can afford to just waste a little bit more time, do a bit more damage, and gather a little bit more info for his team. But he's currently getting getting Jackal tracked there as the Oryx will rotate down further. GG, drones coming on in, and the pressure is just going to be a little bit too much for him. Gets taken out. A late trade, but a trade nonetheless.
It'd be tricky to get these hatches open with only having the Maverick available, and typically you can only really pick one hatch to do. That Habana pick is very big in the long scheme of things. You're going to have to pick what point you want to go for. Generally, it is going to be the open area hatch that we see be open a lot more, because that's generally where you would drop it and try and go for a plant. But at the moment, not even a hatch is going to be touched. Still, all of the ammunition inside of the Maverick blowtorch is going to be there. VJ's looking for an entry, but he has no idea that Novi's is literally right beside him. Might have a suspicion, but this is a tense one, Ollie.
There feels like a bit of a lack of information here.
Oh, there we go.
They're really relying heavily on this Jackal, and they're not really relying too much on the drones. Novice, how has he got away with that? The hatch drop from VJ, but it wasn't enough. Novice tucked himself into the corner there. He was still being Jackal tracked at that moment in time, and he's gotten away with it. Unforgivable stuff.
A disaster from all accounts from the Jackal. He knew exactly where he was. He could only be in the staircase, yet he still loses the engagement. M-King makes that big old ACS sing and will find a kill. And there's Guicho peeking up behind those desks, and now Dirty is left with it all to do a 1v4, and not even close. Not even close in the first round.
A little bit off the pace, that's for certain, but Furious did suffer a big loss early on. They lost the hard breacher straight away, so you can be forgiven for the way that round pans out. It obviously wasn't their initial plan right from the get-go, but got to be able to adapt, got to still be able to make things happen. Although it's always nice to have a hard breacher, there are ways and means around it, and I think there was just a bit too much reliance on the Jackal and the pings that the Jackal was providing. The Jackal was effective. It did gain a kill as a refrag over onto GG after he'd caused a little bit of havoc and ran rampant upstairs. And it did lead to at least a potential kill onto Novice, although Novice hit him with the outplay there, Demo. I think it's fair to say Jackal got his ankles broken there inside of the bottom of blue.
Yes, indeed. But again, it's stuff that it shouldn't be happening at this level of stage. I mean, just like a simple pinch onto a guy on blue stairs. Like, you have a live Jackal ping it. I'm not going to get it. I'm done. I'll forget about that. I'll forget about that.
Yeah, it's before you even look at the utility that was being brought, whether there was some lifeline
left, whether
there was... Yeah.
Just everything went wrong.
Whatever it might have been, but a new site and a new round. Downstairs is going to be the chosen location. Now, a bit of a bold move, given that Hibana's available. Even bolder, that hatches are now being opened. But with the castle playing upstairs, there is an intention to try and hold the map a little bit firmer than just hold from the basement. Now, holding from the basement's fine. You can stack yourself with smokes and echoes and maestros and all that sort of good stuff. Or, if you're confident enough and if you have that sort of cohesion in that plan as a team, you can choose to make a little bit of an extension. Now, opening the hatches is a very bold move, because it all depends then on how much time you can spend upstairs inside of open area. And not forgetting that we've now got a lot more destructibility. You can actually get the floor open inside of stock into open area, so it does make holding it that little bit more difficult.
With Hibana being open, it's actually much more of a viable strategy than just sitting on site. I think the issue that you might run into if you're going for just a more default anchor kind of turtle formation for the basement is, if the attackers are quick and they can burn through all of that utility, it's inevitable that you're going to lose that round one way or another, because there is a blind spot that you can plant in. And with Hibana being open, it's going to make things really, really fast for the attackers. So this is much more of a strategy we see. I think Hellraisers are a very strong team from Europe who we've seen do this throughout the course of CL, throughout the course of the relegation battles. They were able to put this strat to really good work. And the all of it kind of orientates around that main hatch, like that main site hatch, Ollie, that we always see be opened up. Because if the defenders control that hatch, the attackers can't plant in the bomb site. So you may look at this and think, oh, they're holding mid floor. Let's just rush site because they're not going to have anyone on site. It's not going to work. As long as you have this hatch control, you are done from an attacker standpoint. So quite rightly so, Furious, they've just been able to sweep in, and Dirty makes the LMG sing with a quad. Doesn't quite get the ace, but he's done the damage. The job's been done. And this leaves Bursa in probably going to have to be the clutch of his life if his team want to win this round.
A full minute on the clock for him to find 4 kills. The diffuser in Yenko's hand, so chance that will be getting put down very shortly. There could be a bit of information available for Bursa here. He might have a yokai drone or 2 knocking around, and I'm surprised to not see that plant actually go down yet. There's a lot of hesitation here, but it does seem as though Furious is setting up for this post. They're making sure that they've got a couple of lines of sight open. There's a smoke that's gone a little bit deeper, and the Iana clone searching out that information, and a Jackal on the main stairs to finish the job. VJ, they're going to pick up that final kill. Furious with a much better attacking round there.
I think Dirty with the much better attacking round there. Ollie did all the work, just kind of walked into tellers, one engagement, had hatch control, found what, 2 or 3 of them just off the hatch. Simple, very, very simple for him. But I have to question the hold from Akave. You're doing this setup, which is the correct setup whenever I think you're playing with the Habana open, is to go for that roam game. Not much roam. Not much of a game there.
No, the fact that 3 kills were got on site is a little bit of a worry when you've opened when you've opened hatches above.
Need to locate and defuse bombs.
Poor old Castle, M-King playing upstairs on his own wasn't enough. Now, I'm not sure if Akave are enjoying the punishment that they felt in that previous round, but they're going to go for it again. So something must have felt good about that round. They have made a small change, and that change is going to be the mirror. Mirror being brought instead of the Echo. So that's going to obviously give a little bit more of something to peek from if you do lose the sight. But still, you've got to try and keep hold of that top floor for a little bit longer than we saw in round number 2, because that's a bit unforgivable.
5 seconds to go. Attackers are moving out.
Right.
Locate a bomb and defuse it.
Here we go. Into the defense again. It will be that basement, of course. And once more, we're seeing a bit of a roam game come out. Just like last time. Hopefully, it's a lot more stable. Bringing the Mozzie in, which is just kind of known for being that pesky roamer Ollie. And also, Mira makes an appearance. Typically, an operator that doesn't actually manage to make it through into bank sometimes. We do see a ban come in. And typically, it's Kaid who actually sees a lot of play here. Actually going to be left open. Just because Mira is very, very strong, Ollie. You know, we look at the Mira windows that you can place inside of the red corridor, looking directly into the bomb site, gives you a nice peek, potential for a C4. You think of the upstairs, Ollie. You think of the long lines of sight that you can get with the Mira windows. It's very, very strong in bank. That's a bit of a new one. Bursa placing the Mira window on that reinforced wall. I'm sure probably going to be used for a bit of information. Maybe pop it to try and snag a cheeky kill, something like that. But as long as you have that red mirror, that is the big one.
The red mirror being the important one, and the fact that the top floor is being held a little bit firmer being very important here as well. M-King and Novice are both aware of the player that was just in behind that teller's desk. Wet on the Maverick is going to be removed. Not that he's going to be required, but the nades would be very nice in this circumstance. Bit of a ping coming out there onto the top of main stairs. M-King has been droned, but could choose to play for a little bit longer. Instead, decides to drop off and get himself tucked in behind that elevator. As more pressure now starts to come in onto this main stair area, but Novice is lying in wait. He's caused havoc there just on the back of Teller's desk. And he's in fact going to be allowed to make that rotation. Dirty now looking to push on through. Bit of information available here on the yellow ping, and Yeko is going to take advantage of that info. JJ getting himself caught out there, but Novice, dangerous threat here on the flank demo.
Be very, very deadly. See if he can bide his time. Defense are in a good position. They have that man advantage, and there's not a lot of time really for Furious to establish a strong push, and now they're starting to rotate in towards server. But sadly, Ollie, they don't actually have their Habana over towards server, so they're going to actually struggle with opening up that main default wall that you would expect teams to plant into. But even Habana has diffuser, is going to be on the hatch. It's going to be a sight drop. That's what they're going to try and set up for, which is very, very risky. That's a great nade, though, from Shoxo, and that does give them an option to kind of go for this even trade, but this is where the Mozzie comes in big. All it should be a simple flank and a simple peek onto the defuse planter, and this is where Novice is in prime position to stall out the round.
It's probably the worst place you could choose to plant as well. Kills come through though, Demo. Furious, how do they get away with that one? Everybody on the side of Akave chooses to peek. These guys aren't even hyped. They're not saying anything. I'd be buzzing after a clutch like that.
What a blunder! About 5 seconds left. Diffuser is cold. Novice knows like where they're coming from, and then he peeks. Why doesn't he just sit back and then shoot them as they're running underneath him? I don't understand. That was an absolute freebie. An absolute freebie.
a comedy of errors. First of all, the plant spot. Terrible place to plant when you know the hatch is open and there's potentially still a roamer out there. But why Novice just sits there with his head just peeking? All that Zafir would have been able to see, all Dirty has seen then is a head of a Mozzie. And it's gone, yep, thank you very much. Bing, I'll take that. And a couple more kills come through. They just had to keep themselves alive for, what, 5 seconds, if that? The diffuser cold. Ooh, that one's going to sting.
Akave. My, oh my. Easy round. Should have been closed out, but now they have dropped another basement. They're going to change things up. Straight to the top floors where they will head. GG's already on about 20 HP there, Ollie. Somebody's been shotgunned.
Yeah, GG has not followed the risk assessment during the setup phase, I don't think, there.
Get Tim in, he knows all about them.
Guicho looking like a likely so. Could be M-King, to be fair. There's a couple of shotguns knocking around. They've been doing a little bit of site renovation. I don't think it's going to stop GG. It's still a deadly force. This time opting to play on the Jaeger, so a bit more fit and forget in terms of utility. Sometimes see him on the Oryx and other operators, so really giving himself full opportunity to just flex and concentrate on kills after he's gotten his utility placed out there. But Furious so far, I mean, if they can pick up another round here on Bank, it'd be a good do for him, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, indeed. I'm liking the Flores pick. Good operator for Bank, especially whenever you think about the top floor and whenever Castle's a bit of a necessity, Ollie. Gonna be great for getting rid of those castle barricades. No issue at all. Even opening up some soft walls in towards Janitor, give you another line of sight. Plenty of options for the Flores.
Of course, limited by the mute jammers, but it depends where M-King's chosen to place them. But he's got to place them somewhere, hasn't he? And I'm sure that the Flores will be able to work around in one way or another. There's a bit of utility to remove those jammers as well if the need be. There's a lot of attention currently being paid to in and around tellers. And there's a concern from Furious that there's going to be a couple of people playing there below. It would be warranted. We can see a couple of silhouettes there that are going to be knocking around in that area. That wall being open is always a risky maneuver because you do just leave yourself very susceptible to as soon as the top of square stairs is taken, that's it. You've lost a lot of control of the site there. Is this the misdrawn of the sentry? Ooh, nope. GG is going to give himself up there almost. Shockto going to try and move on through for the kill, but GG has since dropped. Got himself safe and is going to make that rotation up blue.
Yeah, he's long gone, isn't he? Straight away, that drone comes in and he's like, nope, I'm not giving myself up. He knows his HP. He knows that he's not in a great position to really take a one-on-one gunfight. So instead, he just takes what he can and leaves. And with 45 seconds, Furious need to get a bit of a shift on here, Ollie. They have opened up with the first pick, and down goes Novice, but there's still a myriad of utility on board still for Akave to have the castle barricades. They're still protecting their players. You have bulletproof stuff. That's a lot of information. You have the echo cams that can stall out the round and stop that plant coming in, but 2 kills out of nowhere for Furious, and now Akave are left in the clutch position. M-King and GG, they don't have the echo drones to try and stun out some of these attackers as they push in, and they're going to need to try and retake this square. GG will begin, but quickly get shut down. Dirty on with a triple kill. Last man remaining is going to be M-King. Will he fall? No, he will not. Wins it against Dirty, but at what cost? He's lost the control off the bomb site. Diffuser will start to be planted, and everyone from Furious wants a piece of him, and they go hunting, and they find their man.
It was a good patient round from Furious. They really took the time then and just let Akave make their own mistakes. They let Akave get restless inside of the bomb site and start swinging things and challenging and peeking onto this and that. There was not really too much concern about the rotating Jaeger. GG was pretty much firmly getting held off there. I don't think it would have mattered which staircase he would have come up. He would have been caught out because there just wasn't sufficient cover left. There wasn't enough bodies left on the side of Akave to really get the job done there. So a good patient round from Furious. They took the time getting there, but they had enough in the end to really get that job done and just patiently waited for those kills to really come to them. A nice display and 3-1 up so far. It looks as though we may have found an upsetter.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
So, Akave, things have not worked that well for them, Ollie. 3 rounds in a row that they've dropped, and Furious just seeing little bits of space, aren't they? And they're just taking them very, very well. Like you mentioned, the control of the passiveness coming in from Furious is second to none right now. And I think it's matching Akave's aggression very well. Akave are not afraid to kind of get out and about and take those challenges. We've seen them go for the heavy roam holes. Nearly on every bomb site that they've played, they're ready. They're not afraid of taking these gunfights. And I think in the correct fashion, Furious are just sitting waiting. And I'd say Akave, they just get a little bit impatient.
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
Well, let's see if Akave managed to show a little bit more patience inside of this round. They really can't be affording to be chain losing rounds like this. We're going to be going into open area. Site where they were successful right at the start of this game. Site is taking them a while to rotate back onto. But was it more through errors on Furious game inside, or was it a real solid defense? I guess we really find out now, because Furious have started to tidy themselves up over the course of the last couple of rounds. A little bit of drone work going on here inside of stock. Just find out what exactly on this top floor is clear. Dirty is already well established on the main stairs, gonna start to get himself into a position, but Novice could be looking a bit flanky. He's going to hear that Claymore get placed and possibly that bookcase getting battered to pieces, but certainly thinks better of it. First kill here coming in for VJ. He's been a menace on the opening kill all day. Had a cracking game on Coastline a couple of hours ago, but since then we haven't really seen him activated, but this could be the start of something. Takes down JJ in that opener.
Attackers recover
So,
the bomb diffuser.
look at Furious again. Just nice and passive, not looking to flood the bomb site, just taking their time, using their utility very, very well. I mean, the drone work is good. They know exactly what they want to target. They know positionings from the defenders. Right now, Shoxo, he can just slip into tellers and archives, and this is as free as anything for him right now. And he can maybe try and challenge in towards that triple wall, looking in towards that little office area, even into the bomb site. Instead, he's going to look, actually get some nades tossed over towards that quad wall. Maybe try and get a kill. I'm sure probably remove the mute jammer as well, and that allows the Habana to come in and start opening up that quad wall. And that means that Versa and MK are going to be in for a world of hurt. Out comes the impact trick, though. Mute jammer's actually not being eaten up either, so they're still safe for the meantime. I think Furious need to get that wall open, because you cannot allow MK with that big LMG ollie just to sit in the back and just gun everyone down as they try and push in.
No, the Maestro is not anybody that you can be affording to leave a lot of time and space to, and I see 4 there from Guicho. He's going to see a nice kill netted for him, but it's traded back and forth, as is the order of the day so far in this round. Wets is going to find an advantage briefly before being challenged again, but does get the swing onto Guicho. Everyone's swinging Wets and everybody is falling.
I don't know. I think Akave at this stage, they need to take a look and think, why are we just running at them? Because that's what it feels like, Ollie. It feels like all the control is in favor of Furious. You know, they're sitting there, they have the control, and Akave almost panic, and they feel as if they need to get in there and get some kills, but realistically, they don't need to. They don't need to.
There's certainly not a lot of self-control knocking around, is there? With people just seeing and hearing gunfights happen and go, yeah, I'll just swing and challenge onto that. You know, Wets is just sat there almost as if he's on a merry-go-round, just 360ing constantly and just fighting whoever he sees at the time. 4 clean rounds there for Furious Gaming, and they show no signs of slowing down. Back down to the basement, a site that really hasn't been successful. Now we've got the castle being brought again. Bursa has reverted back to the first iteration of operators that we saw brought for this site, which was the Echo, not the Mirror. Obviously feeling that the Mirror didn't provide all too much. Now, we haven't seen hatches open just yet, but equally they haven't been reinforced either. So I imagine that we're going to see a similar setup. And you've got a question. If something hasn't worked twice, what's to say it's going to work the third time?
Maybe Akave want to play MIBR. Maybe this is all just a plan, Ollie. We don't know. Maybe they want to play MIBR.
Potentially. Potentially.
It would be M-King's and Novi's former organization to be up against. There's a good storyline.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just speedrun any percent to the MIBR game.
Exactly. We've been looking at this from the wrong angle. Of course they want to play MIBR because that's not their region. If they go up against Fenix, that would be, you know, a regional matchup, and Fenix know them so well.
To be fair, I think that the MIBR game's first as well, so maybe they see an advantage in having a bit of a break in between.
Yeah, because they played good this morning. Yeah, they played good this morning, didn't they?
Maybe they're a morning team.
Morning team, that's it.
That's what it is.
This is going to be an interesting round because if Akave don't win this, Ollie, I don't see Furious dropping as many defensive rounds as what Akave are doing right now. So Akave need to find something to give themselves just a little bit of momentum. But the only worry I have, Ollie, is they are set up for the third time on this basement defense in the exact same way, and Furious are walking in the exact same way.
Yeah, there's got to be a point where you think if you keep doing something and it doesn't work, you need to sort of reassess what it is you're exactly doing. Opening kill on to GG. He's going to fall yet again. 1 and 6 here. Barely even scraping the scoreboard. Dirty has got himself on the hatches, where he's seen a lot of the success attacking onto this side, whether it be from the side or above. He's searching out for anything he might see, anything that's worth a pre-fire. A bit of a Jackal track coming in here as well to assist. Furious have shown really good discipline so far, and I think that discipline will translate over to the defender side. So by all accounts, they really just need to start going through the motions here. They're making fewer mistakes than we saw in the first couple of rounds. There's a good focus now on making sure that this diffuser is able to be planted. We see the smoke coming through, the wall's nice and open. Toxic Babe canisters are being baited out at around the 35-second mark. This is all pretty textbook stuff.
Yeah, this is as default as you like, and Furious have made very good time at doing so. VJ even drops the hatch and tries to challenge onto the smoke and onto the Mozzie, but unfortunately will not win that engagement against Novi's. Another one falls. M-King is there, and the Echo Drone comes in to deny the plant for the meantime. Smoke has been down, so all pressure comes down to the Echo Drones. How good is his Yokai placement? Wets will try and go in for the plant, but as you can see, the Yana gets caught tunnel watching for that Echo Drone. The Yokai blast comes out, and Wets is trying his best to try and go for the plant. Will there be another Yokai Drone? Dirty trying to give as much cover as he can, but there's the Yokai, and Akave will win it down to time.
Finally, we get to see just how you should hold on and defend onto that site, and it is not by swinging every little thing that you see, every crack of a twig and a shimmer of light. It is by digging deep and relying on your utility, and if that utility isn't cleared, the round ought to be yours. Those Yokai drones proved invaluable. No presence inside a garage from Furious Gaming. They hadn't shown any intention in the previous 2 attempts on that site to take any control of garage, so Burster was very safe in there to try and jump on his Yokai drones and deny the plant, and we can see that stun effect ringing on through. The pre-fire of Dirty, even with the LMG of Zephyr, not enough to get the job done, not enough to shove those defenders back. Furious Gaming still, however, come away with a very favourable split. 4 rounds to 2. And if you can display some of the good discipline that we saw them display on the attack, I see no reason why they can't get an equal 3-3 split here and walk away with the map.
So we head to our next bomb site, which is going to be a bit of a new one, Ollie, that we weren't maybe... I don't think we've seen. Did we see this bomb site, the Terror's Archives? I don't think we did.
No, it wasn't in Akave's rotation.
Yeah, so it was mostly the open area and basement that you were after. So this is going to be a bit of a new one to see how this plays out. Mirror being brought in, good pickup. Again, like I've mentioned with Mirror before, the sight lines that you can get and challenge onto longer angles, it's going to be very, very big. And I believe they put one downstairs looking in towards lobby, which is quite a big room, as we know, Ollie. A lot of long angles that you can challenge from. So yeah, good selection for the Mirror. Also extending in towards open area. Okay, so they're extending... I would say roughly about 50% of the map right now. The only thing that they're not really dabbling in is going to be downstairs in that basement, but everything else is covered. They've got kitchen, they've got obviously the main site, they've got top floor control. Very, very spread out, which is good. Gives you plenty of map control, gives you options, doesn't just give, the freedom away to the attackers. The only issue that you have is, are players going to be close enough to get refrags if things go wrong?
Novice got a glimpse there, certainly worth a couple of shots, but didn't manage to connect with any of them. Threatening on the rappel, seeing the castle barricades, knowing that there's going to be a presence in upstairs. A couple of punch holes there to worry about, and a red ping for him to pre-fire onto further, but the 2 opening kills this time come in favor of Furious. They managed to find both M-King and GG, so not the greatest start there. Going to be coming into this round with a severe lack of utility. You're going to look toward those Flores drones to even gain information at some point, destroy castle barricades, open the floor. There's so many really niche uses for those drones that you can get out of them. And of course the Iana as well with Gone 6 and a couple of nades that are also going to be gone. It doesn't come without loss though. 2 kills now traded back. BJ first to fall. Dirty really getting caught peeking there. I'm not sure what it is about defending on bank demo in this lobby, but players just want to peek stuff.
Just want to get in amongst it, and I don't know why. I do not know why. It's supposed to be a more strategical map. I know you may be looking at this thinking, well, this isn't strategical. This is Coastline, another remake of Coastline. But no, it's not. It's supposed to be slow paced, but sadly both teams did not get the message, and they are running around trying to pop as many heads as they can. Another gunfight's going to come in downstairs this time. Chuckster will go up against the sledge, and Novi's loses that engagement. How does that ever happen? Furious are back in the lead. 3 versus 2. They have the control. Keep in mind, Ollie, the bomb site's mid-floor. You wouldn't think it's mid-floor, but it is.
Akave are being spread very thinly here to pick up these kills. We see an attempt from Burster, but that's all it ever was. A couple of nice rotation holes placed at foot height is all it takes for him to fall, and Wets, standout consistent player for me throughout the course of the day, is there to collect the last. Little pre-fire here and there, and then a call and some sound, and he connects with that last kill. 5 rounds currently here for Furious Gaming, 2 away from tying up this map, 2 away from being that upsetter and sending Akave guaranteed into that game against MIBR tomorrow.
Getting there, closer and closer. I mean, Furious is playing for pride, aren't they, at the end of the day? And I mean, they're holding themselves up to a good standard. We have to give credit to Furious and their first ever outing, Ollie, into the bigger leagues. They put on a good showing today, no matter how the outcome has turned for them.
I think that's the big thing to take away. It's a team that everybody has seen them now. Everyone that's watched today will have seen Furious at some point during the day, and it's just one to remember for next time, because they'll be around next time. And we see more often than not now the teams from the regions inside of Latin America that aren't Brazil are really starting to vie, and they're really starting to get themselves known and improve. And this is how teams get better, being exposed to different competition. Another thing, and it's almost a bit of a side note, but the quality and the difference in scrims that these teams are going to be getting now, because all of these players are in Europe at the moment, that's going to be something entirely different again. And I think we really saw that sort of last year at SI when we had all the teams in Paris, and there was a lot of scrims going on. There was a lot of tier 2 teams getting involved. There was a lot of Challenger League teams getting involved in scrimming those international teams, and it really does just broaden every team's sort of experience and knowledge of the game.
Oh, GG. He's up to something, Ollie. Has had a bit of a woeful game, isn't he? 1 in 7 for a very strong player throughout the course of today's action, and really struggling to get any insight into this game so far. And he's on the Nook crouch walk. In he goes, in through garage, slips his way all through the bottom floor, and up through the server stairs is where he wants to go. I don't really know what option this is going to give him. He even tossed out a drone, maybe to bait out somebody going for a peek. But the sad thing is, as soon as he gets up that stairs, there's going to be a mirror window looking right at him. So this whole avenue, this adventure he's been on, it's all for naught.
Nooking in through garage is a classic, isn't it, for Bank? As soon as Nook was brought out, that was always a sort of hot place to use them. But as you say, Furious They've certainly got a different tempo to the defense that they're setting up here. They're not just running at every window that gets smashed. They're not looking to challenge onto everything. Okay, save the last round. Dirty got caught lacking, but they're playing this one fairly passively. We've got Dirty just playing onto these windows. Now gets a chance, sees the nade indicator come in and decides to dip himself away. Main lobby being watched, otherwise I'm sure a rotation would be on the cards here. You can see that Dirty is tempted for it. But Akave have started to take things a little bit slower. Maybe the weight of the occasion is starting to get to them and they're realizing, guys, we need to start coming up with something here. But that sort of slow and steadiness, it could also come to hurt them, as there's a lot to do inside of a minute.
VJ opens things up. Another opening pick. GG goes down. Just cannot get a simple kill in this game right now, especially on the attacking half. He's only had one kill the entire series. Needs to find more, needs to try and put a shift in for his team because this is looking grim. Every second we go on for Akave, that dream of being able to play against the easier matchup against Phoenix instead of MIBR, it's slowly shutting on them. Novi's though will respond with one kill and down goes Shock. So 4 versus 3 into a 3 versus 3 as Guicho finds Dirty, and now there is options for them, but only I worry, how are they going to get through these mirror windows?
Well, there's nothing that's springing out immediately in 18 seconds that they're going to be able to do to really deal with them. They're just going to have to try and take these head-on gunfights, but they're really going to be able to shoot their way through. Guicho is going to be the first through the breach, and he fails, followed by Novice as Wets shuts Novice down. Burster now trying to make that impact, picks himself one, but the players are just going to keep themselves safe. Plant is going to go down. Wets is fortunate he didn't drop the hatch then, as that would have been an option as well, but the plant has been stopped. Not enough time, and Burster feeling the pinch. No need to stick the plant when you know that there's 2 players running headlong at you.
6-2. That secures a point for Furious, so they don't walk away from today empty-handed. They've got something for their laurels. Still not over yet, though, Ollie. Akave still have potential to move on and try and secure that seeding position. But they need to get to overtime to do so. They need 4 perfect rounds here, Ollie. And I don't know if they can do it. I don't think they can do it. I think at this stage, the momentum's on Furious. The gunners from Akave, I'm looking at GG here. He's not there. I just don't know where you look.
There's nothing in this game that indicates to me that we're going to be able to see Akave pull out 4 flawless rounds, take it to an overtime, and then pick up 2. It just doesn't have that feeling about it. The game doesn't feel like the flow is really headed anywhere near in that direction. So for Furious, they've got to be feeling pretty good about themselves at the moment, and they can just do the basics and do them well, which is kind of consistent with how they've played throughout this whole map. Is they've just done basic things very well, save that first round, and they've played exceptional from that point onwards. They've played the game that's been put in front of them. And Akave, on the flip side, have just been going for these sort of showy plays. They've been going for the style points, as it were. And that's not something that's consistent. It's not something that you can pull off. And then, again, you mentioned it in the previous round, but it's never ideal when a player like GG, who has been absolutely popping off all day, all of a sudden just has a quiet one out of nowhere.
And we go to the potential final round of today's action. Day 1 is almost done, but keep in mind, Day 2 still to go tomorrow. That's where we add in the 2 big boys, Phoenix and MIBR, straight into those semi-finals where they head to. Novi's looking for that opening engagement. It's actually going to be M King who finds that Wex goes down, and that's a bit better. That's the Akave that we know, Ollie. Swift, decisive, and they get the kill with really nothing to lose. You know, they didn't lose anything there.
Spent a nade and that was it. Just 2 guys looking in the right direction and a bit of drone work to work it all through. It's exactly what you need. It's a nice pre-place that as well. We just got a view of it there as Novice was flicking through a couple of drones. So you can see that that's a clear intention to get in there early. And we've spoken about Akave, and I think Fresh and Tim really sort of summed it up earlier. They're a team that like to take ground quickly. They like to move through a map, and they like to, you know, not waste any time in getting themselves in. but it can come one or two ways. That time it's worked out for them, and they've been able to effectively execute and remove the roamer as it were. But again, still a long way to go, and they've spent, you know, quite a bit of the round really not doing all too much. Dirty going to be the next player to find himself some action, as GG is going to fall yet again. Really struggling quite dearly here. 1 and 9 from your main, well, not main fragger, but someone that you're looking toward for a good couple of kills. And with Dirty still being allowed to occupy that space outside of stock, it's going to be pretty dangerous.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Everyone holding angles except Dirty goes for a swing. And M-King says, thank you very much, and he's on his way. This is where Furious, bit of a pickle. Really haven't seen them up against the wall this much, Ollie, on their defense. Defense been very clean cut for the most part, and trades just keep coming back and forth, and it's still Akave who leads. Jacko, there's a man right beside you. I don't think he has any idea that they're in the bomb site, and that's an easy cleanup from Novice. However, he still managed to get it down, Ollie. It's essentially a 1 versus 1. Shoxo has it all to do. Novice picks up the diffuser and goes for the swing, but it's the wrong decision. He's ready for it. Shoxo will pick up that final kill. And my, oh my, Furious. They've done what we didn't think they could do, Ollie.
Furious have done the impossible there. They have gate kept Akave away